Today we're issuing our latest report on the Irish residential market, which shows a very stable environment overall. If you look at activity levels, first of all, we saw €3.2 billion worth of properties transact in the opening quarter, which is the latest available data that we have. Now, that's largely in line with last year. It represents about 10,900 sales nationwide and about 3,500 in Dublin, which shows a very modest uplift in activity. Now, delving into that a little bit further, we see quite a stable new homes market, where in recent years we've seen quite a notable uplift in activity. This year the uplift has been much more modest, and that is definitely one to watch. Looking at the purchases of those properties, it's predominantly, once again, owner-occupiers. So about 77% of all purchases were owner-occupiers, and over 50% of them were first-time buyers. We continue to see this exodus of investors from the market, however, which is a continuously worrying trend. So about 35% of those selling in the first 6 months of the year were selling investment properties, and only 16% of purchasers are buying into that second-hand market as investors. So this exodus of investors is putting increasing pressure on supply levels in the rental market, and that is obviously putting significant upward pressure on rents. In terms of price performance, not so much upward pressure, so very, very stable environment. Prices in Ireland grew by about 0.6% in the first half of the year, and that compares to 3.2% growth in the same period last year, so much more modest levels of inflation. And in Dublin, prices only grew by 0.1% compared to 3.3% last year. So we really are seeing this constrained level of price growth, most notably in the urban centres and most notably in Dublin. Now, the principal reason for this appears to be mortgage lending and that tightening of restrictions which occurred at the end of 2017, making it much more challenging for those investing or buying properties in the more expensive locations. So all in all, a relatively flat market for the opening 6 months of the year. The worrying trends really centre around that exodus of investors and that slowdown in activity in the new home sector. Now, market intelligence suggests that there are some constraints in the industry which could have led to that reduction in sales closing in the opening quarter, so it's one to watch as the year progresses.